Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're grinding away on a marketing team, you already know the stakes. The difference between a brand that prints money with a rabid fan base and one that just sets giant piles of ad cash on fire, it all comes down to a unified, strategic system. Today, we're mapping out the ultimate architecture of persuasion. We're going to see exactly how branding, marketing, and copywriting literally have to lock together to stop the scroll, build real trust, and, actually close the sale. Okay, let's jump right in. There's this brilliant analogy from our source material that instantly demystifies how these three pieces overlap. Think of it like a marriage proposal. Marketing, that's the arrangement. It's picking the perfect sunset, the right restaurant, getting the ring. It creates the opportunity. Branding is your reputation, your character. It's the reason the other person actually trusts you enough for a lifelong commitment. But copywriting? Copywriting is the exact specific words you say when you're down on one knee to get the yes. Think about it. No matter how gorgeous the setting or how solid your reputation is, if the words you say in that crucial moment fall flat, the whole thing crashes and burns. You're walking home alone. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the architecture of persuasion, then hit branding versus conversion tactics. After that, we'll dive into the psychology of buyer motivation, look at some scientific copywriting frameworks, and wrap it all up with anatomy and execution. All right, Section 1, the architecture of persuasion, flowing from top to bottom. So, these three elements, they don't just hang out side by side in a vacuum. They flow in a really strict top-to-bottom hierarchy. Right at the top, you've got branding. This is the long game, your identity, your voice, your core values. It answers the big question, who are we and how do we want our customers to feel? One level down sits marketing. This is your medium-term strategy. It's figuring out, okay, where is the customer hiding, what's the actual offer, and what's our plan to get it to them? And finally, right at the sharp, pointy tip of the spear is copywriting. This is short-term conversion. It answers, what exact words do we use to make them click buy right now? And like we saw with the proposal analogy, you can have a flawless, world-class brand and a genius marketing strategy, but if those final words fail to convert, the whole system falls apart.
Now, this breakdown really highlights the fundamental differences in how these elements operate. Just look at the timelines. Branding is something you build over years, sometimes decades, to generate deep loyalty. Marketing usually runs in months or seasonal campaigns to drive traffic and pull in leads. But copywriting? That happens in a split second. It operates in the absolute instant. It's the immediate answer to, what do we say to make them whip out their credit card right this second? It's the tactical, short-term push that actually yields tangible, hard sales.
Moving into Section 2, branding versus conversion tactics. This is where identity meets action.
See, branding gives your company a personality, but copywriting takes that exact personality and puts it into words. Take a luxury brand like Rolex, for example. Their branding is all about exclusivity and elite status, right? So the copywriter naturally goes with something like, an inheritance passed through generations, crafted for the elite who value time. Sounds super sophisticated. Now flip that and look at a youth-focused streetwear brand, or TikTok. The vibe is totally energetic and rebellious. So their copy says, break the routine and wear what looks like you, today before tomorrow. Now just imagine a century-old luxury watchmaker suddenly telling you to smash that like button and disrupt your wrist. No way, right? The spell is instantly broken. Copy without branding is totally soulless. But branding without copy? That's really just a bunch of pretty colors and silent logos doing a whole lot of nothing.
So how do marketing and copywriting actually overlap? Let's say you're pushing a hair loss solution. Marketing does the heavy lifting to find the audience. They say, hey, we're going to run a highly targeted Facebook ad aimed at men over 30. Boom. Marketing just created the opportunity, but then copywriting steps into that precise moment to close the deal, asking, are you noticing a receding hairline every morning in the mirror? Reclaim your confidence in 28 days. Marketing puts the ad in front of the right guy. Copywriting makes absolutely sure that guy feels understood enough to actually click and buy.
Okay, Section 3, Psychology of Buyer Motivation. Let's look at how customers actually think.
Here is the absolutely crucial thing to remember. Humans do not buy logically. It's a foundational psychological principle that customers make their buying decisions based on emotion first, and then they justify it with rational logic second. If your team is only churning out content to build awareness, you're not writing for immediate sales. To write true conversion copy, you have to dig way deep into your buyer persona. You've got to tap into their hidden fears, their totally annoying daily frustrations, their biggest desires. You have to hit those emotional chords long before you ever bring up the logical features of your product.
And to consistently trigger those emotional responses, we lean heavily on Robert Cialdini's 6 influencers. These are literally the engines of persuasion.
First, there's reciprocity, giving massive value up front so they feel almost compelled to give back. Then, commitment and consistency, getting a tiny yes today to secure the massive yes later on. Social proof, proving that a bunch of other people already love it. Authority and experience, showing beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are the absolute expert. Liking, just building a genuine, relatable connection. And of course, scarcity and urgency, reminding them that this amazing offer isn't going to stick around forever. Baking these into your campaigns isn't about being manipulative. It's about aligning your solution perfectly with human psychology to make the most of your ad budget.
Moving to Section 4, Scientific Copywriting Frameworks. Time to ditch the guesswork.
So to channel all that psychology into a reliable, repeatable template, we use the classic IDA equation. You can't just throw words at a page and hope they stick. First, you have to grab their attention with a hook they literally can't ignore. Second, hold their interest by giving them compelling facts or a really relatable story. Third, you build desire by hitting those emotional triggers we just talked about. And finally, action. You tell them exactly, and I mean exactly, what they need to do next. It is a highly scientific step-by-step formula for turning a total stranger into a paying customer.
Another wildly powerful framework from the material is the PAS equation: problem, agitation, solution. This one is pure gold. You kick things off by identifying a super specific pain point. But, and here's the trick, you don't offer the solution right away. No, you move to agitation. You twist the knife a little. You amplify that pain, making it feel incredibly urgent, frustrating, and literally impossible to ignore. Only then, when their emotion is peaking, do you drop in your offer as the ultimate soothing solution. That agitation phase, that's the secret sauce that gets the buyer absolutely primed and eager to take your offer.
Finally, Section 5, Anatomy and Execution. Let's talk about actually building the campaign.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts right at the top with the headline. If your headline flops, no one is reading that meticulously crafted body copy, and your ad spend is completely toast. To write killer headlines, you gotta use the 4 U's. Your headline must be urgent, giving them a real reason to read it right now. It has to be unique, cutting through all the online noise. It needs to be ultra-specific, speaking directly to their exact situation. And it must be useful, promising a super clear benefit. You master those 4 U's, you master their attention.
Once that headline hooks them, the body of your copy really has to deliver the goods. You use storytelling and what we call fascinations, which are just highly intriguing, punchy bullet points, to keep their eyes moving down the page. But the real magic? That happens in the offer. You make it a total no-brainer by stacking on irresistible bonuses. You use risk reversal, think ironclad, no questions asked guarantees, to completely eliminate any logical hesitation they might have. And lastly, your call to action, your CTA. It cannot just say, click here or submit. Come on, we all hate that. It has to be totally benefit-driven. Tell them the exact amazing result they're going to get the second they smash that button.
Now, naturally, your execution has to adapt depending on the platform. The big picture strategy stays exactly the same, but the delivery definitely shifts. Like if you're running ads on Facebook or Instagram, you need really aggressive scroll stoppers to punch through the algorithm. If you're building out an e-commerce landing page, you want highly structured, desire-building product descriptions. And if you're playing over on TikTok or Reels, you need super strong experiential visual hooks right in that very first second before you even think about dropping your CTA. You got to meet the customer where they are, speaking the exact language they expect. Let's see how all this translates into a modern, everyday workflow for your team, because today, speed and iteration are everything. Step 1, leverage AI prompts. Use AI to brainstorm a ton of diverse angles and get those initial ideas down fast. Step 2 is editing. You've got to ruthlessly slash the fluff. Actually, here's a pro tip from the source material. Always audio test your copy by reading it out loud. Seriously. If you stumble over the words while speaking, your customer is absolutely going to stumble reading it in their head. And finally, step 3, the human touch. AI is great at structuring an argument, but only a human can inject the raw empathy and the genuine emotional punch it actually takes to close the sale. So, we've seen how branding builds that rock-solid reputation. We've seen how marketing perfectly sets the stage. And we've seen how copywriting uses hardcore psychology and scientific frameworks to finally secure the yes. You have the blueprints now. You know exactly what motivates a buyer. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to take straight back to your team. Your brand has a voice, and your marketing has a plan. But when the customer is staring at the screen, are your words ready to close the deal?